There are approximately 600 schools nationwide using the core knowledge curriculum, so that's not a lot. And I have not seen studies, that compare the two. However, I know that in the things that I've read, certainly put out by the core knowledge people, they talk about students having, an understanding of things that goes beyond just the, minimum, which is what we tend to test, on I-STEP and that sort of thing. And that kids come away with an excitement for learning. I think that comment is included, I wish I could put my finger on it, somewhere. I considered a lot of things to put into your handout. But it was a teacher who was talking about, how do students react, with all of this? It's a heavy learning load. And she said, well, I think the answer is you see kids who are excited and interested in the topics and, wanting to learn more about history, wanting to learn more about ancient civilizations. And she was offering that as the proof that, it was a curriculum that served kids' needs very well. Yes, in the back. In the same way that it's handled in a classroom here in Marion schools, with those accommodations that a student needs, those can be made in the same way using this curriculum. Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, but my understanding is that if you are enrolled in the Faulkner Academy this fall, that you will continue to have a spot throughout your career, as long as we will eventually have the plan to add grade levels at 6, 7, and 8, and as long as there is a class at that grade level, that your student would continue. So you do not have to reapply year after year. Other questions? It doesn't have to be about the core knowledge curriculum, and I may have to call on my cohorts to answer some of these questions. Yes? I think, right. Core Knowledge has made an effort to coordinate their curriculum with state standards. However, that varies from state to state. And so I would certainly, this is just my personal opinion, but I would think the students will be very well prepared to, jump in. Some things may be a repeat that they do, say they, finish 8th grade at the Faulkner Academy and then go to Marion High School. That there may be things that they cover in American history that they feel is, a repeat or something like that, and they may be, aching for more. But that's where, these books that stand independent of the curriculum could be used. You could, at home, supplement what the student is doing, with the continuation in the grade levels that the Faulkner Academy doesn't offer. They may have questions for you.
I'd like to add just one thing in regard to the first question that you posed for handling of the IEP. We will be putting on staff 2 educational assistants to help in that cause, because I do know that according to an IEP, of course, we're very, very much governed by the state and certainly by the federal government to deliver. And so in the case where a student has, let's say, a learning disability, or let's say an emotional disability, or whatever the particular condition may be, then we will have teacher aides, at least 2 teacher aides, which will be assigned to specific children for that particular curriculum assistance. So it's not as though the teacher, and I know this happens many, many times all across the nation, not just, something here that teacher will be able to deal with the anticipated 22 students and then have additional adult assistance and supervision via the use of 2 teacher aides, which will float freely throughout the building as needed to serve those individuals who have IEPs. So I'd like to, just clarify that. And in regard to the last question, which was just given here, what we anticipate is that the fullness of the core curriculum, in addition to the balanced literacy piece, in addition to the Feuerstein approach, we're trusting and we are very much hopeful that our scores, our standardized scores, as we yearly test these children, will demonstrate that there will be no gaps in that process. That's our wish, that's our desire. I do believe it will happen. I feel that strongly about the training, and we will have 1 week of training for our staff in the area of core knowledge, 1 week in the area of balanced literacy, as well as 1 week of training in the Feuerstein approach, and all of that will transpire before school starts. So we have a very, very tight time frame, and we've been working very diligently. The board, Yvette Breckenridge, has done a remarkable job of coordinating, and we're kind of lining up for that. Yes?
Are you going to provide after-school care inside Pulaski?
We'll have an after-school program whereby if parents work until maybe 4:30 or 5 p.m. and there's a need for, you know how these things are. I can project if I need to. Okay. Is that working? No. Okay. All right. So if there is a need for an adult to work over and we need to supervise and monitor your children until which time you get off work, I'm going to guesstimate that with a dismissal time of about 3:30. Is it working? I think so. Okay. No. I don't think so. At 3:30, then if your child, and that's the time when we might have additional enrichment kinds of things. Okay, let's try that one. Have you noticed? See, have you noticed? Okay, testing.
She just walked forward.
Yeah.
Just walk forward.
You'll be fine with that.
All right, so yes, we will have after-school programs and things going on. There's where we're going to rely on our volunteerism, because we have some 15 to 20 volunteers who have already come forward and said, let me participate, let me help some of these children with after-school activities. Where you're seated right now is going to become a multi-purpose recreational room, and the offices will be up there so that we can have a supervisory eye in addition to the adults who will be engaged with the children doing a variety of activities. So yes, time frame on that, we have yet to determine that, but I'm guessing probably, at least probably around 5 o'clock closure time. So that's just a rough guess, that's subject to change. But yes, we will accommodate those needs. We do understand that, especially with young children, and some of you having young children in more than just one building. We understand that as well. Yes?
Will the volunteers be undergoing background checks?
Absolutely, absolutely. Any adult who is in any capacity to serve or monitor or be in direct contact with our children will be required to go through a criminal background history, as is the case with any school corporation. We absolutely will demand that, and you can rest assured that that will happen. So that is a very good question. Any other questions about, and I'm sure Dr. McCumber can probably deliver on any of these fronts, but I think that as you look at the sequence of the core knowledge, you can rest assured that as we integrate the music, the art, the health, the history in a day-to-day sequence, you can see where all of that is going to be put in place so that the gaps, we're hoping the gaps don't exist. Now, we're not going to be able to say that just because, we have core knowledge and balanced literacy and all the others that finitely, that when they advance to a middle school or the high school per se, that there won't be overlap in perhaps what we've taught or possibly what they encounter. We can't really definitively say that right now, but we do think, based on the results from some of the other tests,